The North Atlantic stretched into a vast, impenetrable darkness, the kind of darkness that seemed to swallow everything whole. No light penetrated this abyss, and only the faint pressure of the ocean made its presence known. Here, 12,000 feet beneath the waves, the Titanic rested in eerie silence, its once proud hull, now scarred and rusted, spread across the seabed like the skeletal remains of a leviathan. Time, salt water, and pressure had conspired to erode its grandeur. Yet, even in ruin, it retained the majesty of a floating palace lost to history. This was not the Titanic the world imagined. Forget the glittering chandeliers, the grand staircases, and the polished dining halls. Those belonged to the stories told above the waves. Below, hidden from the view of passengers and largely forgotten by historians, lay a different world, the hidden middle deck. It was a place of labor, life, and human endurance. The veins and arteries that kept the Titanic alive. Crew quarters, service corridors, kitchens, storage rooms, mechanical spaces, all interconnected in a maze that few had ever seen. Through a gaping hole in the hull, a dim light reveals the first glimpses of this hidden deck. Rusted beams twist like skeletal fingers, and debris litters the floors. Twisted railings, broken furniture, corroded metal, and waterlogged crates tell silent stories of life once lived. The corridors wind and twist, narrow and unwelcoming, yet they form the heart of the Titanic. Every corner, every doorway, every shadow conceals a fragment of history. In the small cabins lining the passageways, traces of human life remain. Rusted bunks still bear ghostly outlines of where mattresses once lay. A boot leans against a wall. A corroded lantern rests atop a broken table. In the shadows, the faint imprint of a journal can be seen, pages fused by time and salt water. Perhaps it once contained the musings of a steward, the careful notes of an engineer, or the private thoughts of a cook, recording the minutiae of daily life. These relics, silent though they are, speak volumes of the people who lived and worked in this hidden deck. The middle deck was the pulse of the Titanic. While passengers dined, danced, and wandered through the luxury above, crew members worked tirelessly below. They polished silver, folded linens, carried trays of food up narrow staircases, and ensured that every machine functioned perfectly. Here, the heartbeat of the ship was relentless and silent, a rhythm that sustained the illusion of perfection above. Passing further along, the corridors open into storage areas, filled with crates, barrels, and waterlogged boxes. These once contained supplies, food, linens, and equipment essential to sustain life aboard the Titanic. Broken plates and utensils, corroded yet recognizable, lie scattered on the floors. The kitchens, long abandoned, still hold echoes of their former activity. The clang of pots, the hiss of steam, the distant murmur of voices. Laundry rooms, maintenance tunnels, and mechanical spaces form a complex web of life, all converging to maintain order above. Every artifact on this deck tells a story. A tin of biscuits cracked open long ago hints at a hurried meal. A comb left on a bunk suggests a fleeting personal moment. A pocket watch frozen in time tells of lives measured by minutes, hours, and tasks performed with precision. These items, ordinary in themselves, carry extraordinary weight now, preserved as if by intention beneath the ocean. Deeper into the deck, the corridors twist and narrow further, forming an almost labyrinthine structure. Staircases spiral downward into darkness, and doors open onto rooms barely large enough to contain the crew who lived within them. These spaces, functional yet intimate, are the skeleton of the Titanic's life, spaces where men and women labored, rested, and experienced the fleeting joys and quiet fears of their daily lives. It is easy to imagine the moments before disaster struck, crew members moving through these corridors, performing their duties with quiet diligence. In the galley, cooks prepared meals for thousands. Laundry staff folded endless piles of linens. Engineers monitored engines, valves, and machinery that powered the ship. Every movement, every task, every breath contributed to sustaining a floating city of luxury and excess. The hidden middle deck was the stage upon which this daily human drama unfolded, largely unseen and unacknowledged. And then, disaster came. Water poured into the lower decks. Chaos erupted above, but below, in a hidden deck, it was the same struggle for survival. Crew members navigated narrow, dark corridors, helping passengers where they could, moving through rising water, managing what little they could control. Every passageway became a channel of fear and urgency. Yet even as panic gripped the ship, the hidden middle deck endured, silently witnessing the collapse of what it had worked so hard to maintain. Now, lying in the cold depths of the Atlantic, the hidden deck tells its story through the remnants left behind. A rusted spoon lies atop a crate. A pair of boots sits near a collapsed bunk. A lantern, fused with corrosion, hangs from a broken hook. Each object, each fragment, carries the memory of lives lived, work performed, and moments frozen in time. The hidden deck is more than steel and wood. It is memory itself, preserved beneath crushing weight and eternal darkness. The ocean around the wreck becomes a character in the story. Currents flow silently through broken windows. Schools of fish weave through beams and corridors. Rusticles creep along the walls, consuming metal slowly, imperceptibly, yet leaving the essence of the hidden deck intact. Shadows move with the currents, stretching and bending across floors and ceilings. The deck, though submerged and silent, retains the echoes of a life that once thrived within its walls.
As the submersible or an imagination, your mind's eye moves deeper into the hidden middle deck. The corridors narrow further, winding like a labyrinth that seems to stretch endlessly into the ocean floor. Here, life was once compact, organized, and unforgivingly regimented. Bunks line the walls, tight and utilitarian, yet each tells a story. The faint outline of a mattress hints at where a crew member slept, perhaps dreaming of home or a loved one, while the hum of machinery above ensured the comfort of the passengers. A rusted boot lies discarded in the corner of a cabin. Nearby, a small tin, its label faded, rests atop a collapsed bunk. One can imagine the steward who kept it there, perhaps saving a morsel of food for a long night shift, only to leave it behind when the tides of history swept over him. A corroded lantern hangs from a hook, its glass shattered, but its presence evokes a faint flicker of light, a reminder that this deck was once alive with human energy. Every object is a testament to routine, to survival, and to small acts of resilience that sustain the larger, more glamorous life above. The narrow passageways open into service areas that once hummed with activity. Crates, barrels, and stacks of provisions fill rooms that seem too small to contain the life they once held. Broken plates, rusted cutlery, and shattered glasses tell of the constant rhythm of preparation and service. Laundry rooms, kitchens, and storage corridors stretch away into darkness, each a silent witness to the tireless labor that kept the Titanic moving. One can almost hear the clatter of pots, the hiss of steam, the distant murmur of crew members exchanging quiet words while performing endless, repetitive tasks. This deck, hidden from the passengers above, was the backbone of the ship. Every staircase led to more passageways, every door concealed another room. Every corridor was a channel through which life flowed. While opulence reigned above, here efficiency, precision, and endurance were supreme. The crew moved through these spaces with practiced steps, their lives measured by the work they performed, the meals they prepared, the engines they tended. Yet, amid the order, the deck was human. Small details betray the personal lives hidden within the utilitarian spaces. A pocket watch, corroded but still recognizable, lies atop a locker, frozen in time. A photograph, edges curled and faded, peeks from beneath a rusted box, showing a face, a smile, a life now submerged beneath cold darkness. A folded uniform rests in a corner, threads fraying, a silent reminder of the hands that stitched, cleaned, and maintained the vessel. These traces are faint but persistent, whispers of a humanity that endured even within steel walls beneath the ocean floor. Moving forward, the corridors become more confining, almost claustrophobic, and the sense of time begins to warp. Shadows stretch unnaturally in the flickering light, and rusted beams cast patterns that resemble the silhouettes of ghostly figures. The imagination cannot help but wander to the moments before disaster, when crew members moved through these corridors in urgency and fear. Perhaps the steward ran with a tray of food for passengers, oblivious to the looming tragedy. Perhaps an engineer checked valves in a dimly lit engine room, counting minutes, unaware that hours would become eternity. These were ordinary acts of courage, now immortalized in shadow and steel. In one small cabin, the floor is littered with remnants: a comb, a tin of tobacco, a folded shirt, a rusted spoon. It is easy to imagine the occupant here, performing tiny rituals to maintain order in a world that demanded constant attention. Perhaps he paused to glance at a photograph, smiled faintly, and whispered a memory of home before returning to his duties. The deck was alive with these private moments, each unnoticed above but critical below, forming a tapestry of human life that history often overlooks. Further along, the passageways opened into larger rooms that housed mechanical operations. Valves, pipes, and engines dominate these spaces, all rusted, some collapsed, yet their essence remains. The hiss of steam and the clatter of machinery can almost be heard, ghostly echoes preserved in memory and imagination. The hidden deck was not only a place of rest and preparation, but of relentless function. Without it, the glittering corridors and dining halls above would have been hollow and meaningless. It is here that the hidden middle deck gains its profound significance. While the Titanic is remembered for grandeur and tragedy, the middle deck tells the story of survival, diligence, and humanity. It is a record not written in stone but in steel, rust, and memory. The artifacts preserved here, mundane though they may seem, capture the essence of daily life aboard the Titanic. Each corridor, each room, each object is a fragment of the greater story, a window into a world largely invisible to history. The ocean around the wreck is alive in its own quiet way. Currents drift silently through broken windows and doors, stirring sediment and dislodging rusted debris. Schools of fish weave through the skeletal remains of railings, beams, and staircases. Rusticles, strange iron-eating formations, creep slowly along the walls, consuming the metal but leaving the spirit of the hidden deck intact. Shadows shift with the movement of water, creating fleeting patterns that suggest figures walking, working, living. The deck is frozen in time yet alive in imagination, a space where the human story persists even in silence. Some rooms appear almost untouched. A bunk remains neatly made, sheets long decayed. A personal journal lies atop a small desk, pages fused by salt water, its words illegible yet evocative. A lantern rests against the wall, its glass shattered, but its frame intact. These remnants hint at the lives that passed through this hidden deck, lives that labored, rested, and faced both monotony and crisis. The story of the Titanic is incomplete without acknowledging this world, where the ordinary heroism of crew members created the extraordinary experiences enjoyed above. As the narrative unfolds, it is impossible not to imagine the moments leading to the ship sinking. Water encroaching into lower decks, rising steadily, threatening the hidden corridors. Crew members navigating through confined, dark passageways, helping passengers, performing tasks with urgency and precision. Every hallway, every stairwell, every hatch became a site of action, survival, and despair. And yet, despite chaos above, the hidden deck remained a silent observer, preserving the story in steel and shadow. The corridors of the hidden middle deck stretch into deeper darkness, twisting like a labyrinth that resists the passage of time. Every doorway, every narrow hallway, holds a fragment of life, now silent yet potent with memory. The faint outlines of bunks, lockers, and chairs suggest routine, while scattered artifacts whisper of sudden interruptions, lives abruptly halted, tasks left unfinished. The cold of the Atlantic presses in, unforgiving, as if guarding the secrets within. One can imagine the night the iceberg struck. The sudden jolt reverberated through the decks, shaking corridors and rooms alike. Above, the elegant world of the first-class passengers shuddered with disbelief. Below, in the hidden middle deck, the crew reacted with training and instinct honed over voyages past. Stewards rushed to secure supplies, engineers checked the engines, cooks abandoned half-prepared meals, and every man and woman worked to manage the chaos, their faces shadowed by fear yet illuminated by determination. A small bunk room tells a story within itself. A folded uniform lies atop a mattress, threads fraying. A rusted boot leans against the wall. A journal, waterlogged and illegible, rests in the corner. One can imagine the occupant, a young steward perhaps, clutching a photograph of a loved one, whispering a silent prayer as the cold water began to seep. Every object frozen in place is now a messenger across time, a testament to the small personal acts that sustained life amid growing peril. The galley, normally a place of routine labor, became a site of frantic movement. Pots clattered, spilled food floated in sudden currents, and utensils, once neatly stacked, now littered the room. The engineer's domain, a web of valves, pipes, and machinery, became a battlefield of sound and motion, gauges rattling, steam hissing, the desperate need to keep the engines alive while water crept higher. Every corridor became a theater of human resilience, and yet every act of bravery was shadowed by the relentless advance of the sea. As water surged through lower levels, the hidden middle deck bore silent witness. Crew members navigated narrow passageways, guiding those who could not see, carrying supplies, or simply moving with purpose while hope and panic collided. Some hid in cramped corners, clinging to remnants of stability. Others attempted daring acts of heroism, saving strangers they would never meet above. The deck, though hidden, was alive with courage, fear, and the intimate reality of survival. Amid the chaos, personal stories emerge in fleeting detail. A steward paused beside a locker, retrieving a pocket watch that had belonged to a passenger above, intending to safeguard it. A cook, abandoning the kitchen, carried a tin of biscuits toward those who might go hungry. An engineer, soaked and exhausted, checked the pressure gauges one last time, ensuring the engines operated as long as possible. These moments, small yet monumental, reveal a humanity often lost in retellings of grandeur and tragedy. The corridors, now partially flooded, twist with new urgency. Light barely penetrates the darkened spaces, and shadows stretch unnaturally across walls and ceilings. Rusted beams loom overhead like fallen trees in a dense, submerged forest. Water flows through doorways, filling rooms in a silent, unstoppable rhythm. Yet within these confined spaces, human determination shines, hands grasping rails, feet slipping across wet floors, voices whispered in support or fear, each sound swallowed immediately by the oppressive depth. Amid the debris, artifacts float or lie half-buried in sediment. A lantern, shattered but intact, casts eerie reflections across walls. A photograph, edges curled and water-stained, shows a smiling face frozen in time. A tin of tobacco rests atop a crate, hinting at a moment of comfort stolen from a world now lost. Every object is a frozen fragment of life, a tangible connection to the humanity that once navigated these corridors. The hidden middle deck becomes a museum of personal history, preserved not by walls or glass but by the eternal silence of the Atlantic. The maze of passageways leads deeper into the ship's core, where mechanical rooms and storage areas dominate. Here, the engines, pumps, and complex piping systems, now corroded and silent, once powered the grandeur above. Rust and decay have reshaped them, yet traces of their former precision remain. One can almost hear the ghostly echoes of clanking metal, hiss of steam, and hurried footsteps as crew members perform tasks under immense pressure. These rooms, though functional, were arenas of quiet heroism, holding the fate of the ship in hands both human and mechanical. Time becomes distorted in these spaces. A single corridor can seem endless, each step repeating memories of lives lived in monotony, purpose, and occasional joy. In one corner, a boot leans against the wall, a folded shirt rests nearby, a journal peeks from beneath debris. Each item tells a story, who the person was, what they carried, what they feared. The hidden middle deck is a chronicle of ordinary heroism, small sacrifices, and fleeting moments of humanity that shaped the Titanic's operation, and ultimately, its tragedy. As the water rose and chaos spread, the hidden deck's corridors became channels of desperation. Some crew members tried to escape upward, others guided passengers or moved toward lifeboats, though the corridors above were quickly overwhelmed. Every hatch, every stairwell, became both a lifeline and a trap. Panic mixed with determination, courage intertwined with despair. The deck bore witness to the intimate intersection of human lives and catastrophic circumstance, a silent observer to the collapse above. In the final moments, the hidden deck itself seems almost sentient, holding the memory of lives within its corroded walls. Rust clings to beams like veins, floors sag under pressure, and water continues to flow with relentless patience. Yet within this decay lies profound testimony, the unseen labor, quiet heroism, and humanity that kept Titanic alive for as long as it did. The middle deck may be forgotten above, but beneath the waves, it holds the essence of the ship, the lives entwined with its fate, and the story of perseverance, courage, and loss. Even now, the ocean preserves these spaces. Currents drift through broken windows, fish weave between beams, and rusticles slowly consume metal. Shadows stretch unnaturally, creating fleeting impressions of movement. The deck is silent, yet the echoes of a century-old life remain. Each artifact, boot, journal, utensil, photograph, becomes a messenger across time, linking imagination to history and human memory to the cold, silent depths. The Titanic's hidden deck is more than steel, more than space. It is life frozen in time, memory solidified in corrosion, humanity preserved in shadow. It tells a story not of luxury, nor merely of tragedy, but of the invisible hands and quiet courage that made the Titanic what it was. It is a story of work, of resilience, of ordinary people whose efforts sustained a floating palace, even as the sea claimed it. In the end, the Titanic rests in the Atlantic, a ghostly presence beneath the waves. The hidden middle deck remains intact in imagination, a preserved world beneath the grandeur above. It is here that the pulse of the ship, the heartbeat of humanity, and the memories of those who labored in silence are immortal. Rust, shadow, and time may change its form, but they cannot erase its story. The hidden deck whispers across the decades, telling of lives lived, courage displayed, and history quietly preserved beneath the crushing depth. It is a story waiting for those who dare to listen. A story of resilience, mystery, and humanity, suspended in the cold embrace of the ocean. And though the Titanic will forever be remembered for its grandeur and its tragedy its hidden middle deck tells, a story no monument could ever capture. The ordinary heroism, the quiet perseverance, and the haunting memory of lives intertwined with a floating palace lost beneath the waves.